Yes, we'll be back again to the next video. Previously, we were introducing what we call information literacy. In this video of ours, we are going to talk of something very important here, and I hope you're all seeing in the slide here. This is what we call information sources. If we talk of information sources, actually these are materials that provides the information about situation or the happening. Actually, if you are to look at the notes here, they're saying any materials, records, or document that provide knowledge on a particular subject are exactly the same way I've just explained. And with the information sources, we talk of actually the types of information sources, and we have two. Those are primary sources and secondary sources. Actually, if we talk of primary sources, one thing we need to know is these sources and are not mediated. Actually, there are no working of this social media in it. These are just original document that you can just write. Coupled to that one again, these sources are just direct. These are first-hand pieces of evidence created at that time of event by someone who is directly experiencing that one. Then when we talk of before that one, we can check on the characteristics of primary sources. Actually, there's what we call originality. These are original, first-hand information. That's what we call originality. There's what we call raw data. This one is not yet actually processed. That's why we call it just data. Then unmediated evidence, as I told you before. This one is not yet, there's no work of social media here. Then what we call time related. Then if we proceed to actually what we call secondary sources, this one deals with actually the summaries of primary sources, the interpretation, the analysis of the primary sources. Actually, this one you are going to find it in books, many articles like novels, and many historical books. That's what we call secondary sources. It's just the summary, the interpretation of those things. We have to talk of the characteristic also. There's one we call interpretative, the way we say it. Then we can talk of evaluative, the summary. I told you before that this thing really summarizes the first-hand piece of information, and that's what we call primary sources. Then the next one is contextual. Actually, give the highlight of primary sources. This is what we call actually the secondary source. Still under that one, we can look at examples of primary sources. These are like oral testimonies, whereby you may be asked or interviewed to actually explain the occurrence, actually what happened in that time whereby you were all involved. Then what we call creative writings, like this thing of maybe writing your lyrics for music. Those all what we call actually the primary source. But when it comes to secondary sources, it's like actually the opposite, or maybe the interpretation of those primary sources. According to primary sources, we talked of what we call writing lyrics, but with the secondary sources deals with how you are going to interpret. An interpretation deals with now publication. Then that's lyrics that you have written as a primary sources will be interpreted through maybe publishing like books and whatever. That's what we call primary sources. There's what secondary sources I mean. There's what we call documentaries also, a document that you have actually edited or interpreted from primary sources. Those still fall under secondary sources. So still watch me this video. Remember to subscribe, give comment to actually during comment section, then we can still push on well. Me still remain Rajkara Robert. Stay tuned to this YouTube channel.